Welcome to Simmons Elementary. Today we're going to feature ways that our staff and students are creating positive connections with one another during these unusual times when some days we're all learning remotely from home, some days half of us are at school and the other half are at home, and the fact that we're constantly shifting based on our local health conditions. No matter what's going on, our teachers focus on the social emotional well-being of our students and using the responsive classroom strategies woven throughout the day to build a community that is safe, welcoming, and supportive for every student.
Her favorite place is California. Her goal is to be a nice person, but I'll tell you right now, she's already a nice person. Her birthday, we're starting to study biographies of famous people. So we started talking about how you get information about a famous for anybody, and starts sometimes with an interview if the person's still alive. So we met with building our classroom community is they came up with interview questions for a classmate. They are going to make that into a seesaw activity, take a picture of their partner, write 3 or 4 sentences to put around their picture, and record what they learned about that person. And then we're going to share with each other the interviews so that they can all get to know one another. For those of the kids that are at home and the ones that are here, these different cohorts, they know one another from being virtual, but this way they'll get to know each other even a little bit better.
Number 3, what's the meaning of the word root? Page 192, using your context clues.
The great thing about having them dial in is that they can get the main lesson that I'm teaching without being on the computer all day long. So I have my students dial in to the Teams meeting during my shared reading lesson. So it's about 45 minutes after our morning meeting they stay on, and we do a shared reading lesson, and both at-home kids and the kids in school get the same lesson. But I love having these guys at home log in so that they can feel a part of the classroom when they're really not in here. So I think that that's great that they can be a part of it from home when they're not here.
In order for the kids at home to really be able to do some of the experiments with each other, because part of the experiment is talking to each other, I put the kids into breakout rooms. So they go into the Teams meeting, the kids at home and the kids at school, and I put them with their desk buddy in a breakout room, so it's just the 2 of them. The children that are at school have headphones on, so they can hear the kids at home, and they are showing them the hands-on experiment, and they're just discussing it with the child at home. So what we usually do in 3rd grade is like a turn and talk or a group experiment together, which you can't do now. So this kind of allows them to talk to a classmate while they're doing the experiment. This might be a way to get all of that in without having to double experiment, do one in school one day and then do the same experiment the next day.
What I'm most proud of in Hatboro-Horsham and at Simmons in particular is that what you see as you walk through our building is teachers being really creative and looking for opportunities to rethink what learning looks like, what is teaching and learning. And so they're looking at their science lessons and they're rethinking, how do I make this a group project? How do I make it so that kids are able to connect with one another? And you also see that in the way in which they are building community in their classrooms, the way in which they use morning meeting and interactive modeling and approach those connections that they know need to occur between students.
I love doing the morning meeting with both kids at home and at school. Even though they're not together, I feel like when we do our sharing, like today we shared, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live? Some friends said the beach, Hawaii, Seattle City. So they were able to go off of each other. Oh, I'd want to go with Zach to California. So Zach's at home, but Haley's here. So they're able to kind of build that community together even though they're not in the same place. I think it's really awesome that they can still share that even though they're not all together.
In morning meeting, we were playing categories in breakout rooms, and I was with Connor, who's at home, and Caitlin, who's here at school. Because I have friends at home that I don't normally get to see, and I get to see them during Teams meetings.
Alrighty, here we go.
In the socially distant kindergarten,
doing interactive modeling or just modeling in general is a little bit different than when we were all together and there could be a group and we were sitting kind of closer together and observing one person do the activity. Now we're spread out, so there are opportunities where they get to see me, or we have a star student every day that comes to the front and models things that we're expecting students to do. The change from traditional kindergarten to this new setting for kindergarten where we're socially distant doesn't have as many opportunities for the students to move and get up and kind of get together or move across the classroom. So we've put in breaks that are, some are active, like the ones we were doing with the cardio drumming with the noodles, or we were ice skating with paper plates to a freeze dance. So they were actually working on listening skills at the same time for both of those things. And then at the end, we started to use our busy box, which is just in between activities, or if someone's a finisher and is finished a few minutes before the rest of the group, it's something that they can work on.
We hope you've enjoyed your visit to Simmons and that you've had the opportunity to witness how our teachers and students are working together to strengthen our school community, build relationships, and form those important connections that happen in an elementary school every day.